Some people think that just because an animal is not a human being, that it isn't a big deal to hit or abuse them. No matter what size an animal is, it is still a living, breathing creature, who feels things emotionally as well as physically. Laws that protect animals have only recently come up into existence. Up until recently, animals were only considered as property by the courts. I want to tell you about how the perceptions of animal abuse and child abuse compare and differ, and hopefully allow you to relate the two to be just as serious as one another. First, let's look at Maryland's perception on abusing an animal. According to Patrick R. Jacoby, up until 2000, Maryland treated animal cruelty only as a misdemeanor and never as a felony. In 2000, the state enacted a new group of anti-cruelty laws that allow prosecutors to bring felony charges for animal fighting, the cruel killing or injuring of an animal, or the killing of a police dog. There are, however, exceptions to the animal cruelty law. First, the provisions do not apply to customary veterinary and agriculture husbandry practices. This means that when a veterinarian performs surgery or something along those lines on an animal that may cause them pain, but it's necessary for their health, then it's okay. Secondly, this does not apply to research conducted in compliance with applicable federal laws. This exemption appears to explain Taub v. Maryland, a 1983 Maryland court case, ruling that was overturned the conviction of a scientist for abusing a lab monkey, holding that was when Maryland anti-cruelty laws did not apply to animals used in research. Thirdly, it recognizes an exemption for an activity that may cause unavoidable physical pain to an animal, such as hunting or pest elimination, provided that the activity is performed in the most humane method responsibly available. Fourth, it recognizes an exemption for North human activities which the infliction of pain to an animal is purely incidental or unavoidable. For example, if you're driving and you hit a squirrel. According to the Humane Society of the United States, Maryland is ranked 40th out of all 50 states when it comes to animal protection laws. Maryland does not give felony penalties for attending cockfights or dog fights, and it does not prohibit hog-dog fighting. Maryland does not require the person who is charged with animal fighting to be responsible to post a bond to cover the cost for caring for the abused animals. Maryland also does not require counseling for animal cruelty offenders. Now that we have a familiarization of what Maryland's perception of animal abuse is, let's take a look at Maryland's perception of child abuse. Child abuse is broken down into 2 degrees according to the child abuse section of the Maryland Criminal Code. First-degree abuse states that a parent or any other person with permanent or temporary custody of a child may not cause the death or severe physical injury of a child. Severe physical injury is defined by the code to mean brain injury or bleeding within the skull, starvation, or physical injury that creates a substantial risk of death or causes permanent or protracted serious disfigurement or impairment of the function of any bodily member or organ. First-degree child abuse is a felony, and any person convicted under this section is subjected to imprisonment of up to 25 years. Second-degree child abuse does not contain a definition. It simply says that a parent or any other person with permanent or temporary custody of a child may not cause abuse to a minor. This is also a felony, carrying up to 15 years in prison. Now that we know the consequences of child abuse and animal abuse, let's talk about animal abuse awareness compared to child abuse awareness. According to the ASPCA, April is considered to be Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Month. Each year, the ASPCA urges supporters across the country to support our efforts and Go Orange for Animals in honor of the signing of the ASPCA's charter in 1866. People participate by wearing orange clothes and orange ribbons. People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, also known as PETA, and the ASPCA both have commercials that are aired on television to help awareness for animal cruelty. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, April is also considered to be National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Since then, child abuse and neglect awareness activities have been promoted across the country during April of each year. The Office on Child Abuse and Neglect within the Child Bureau coordinates Child Abuse Prevention Month, providing information and releasing updated national statistics about child abuse and neglect each April. In 1989, the Blue Ribbon campaign expanded across the country, and many wear ribbons each April in memory of those who have died as a result of child abuse. Now that we have taken a brief look into what has been done to raise awareness of abuse to animals and children, I would like to talk about why one should be taken just as seriously as another. Animals are living, breathing creatures that rely on humans to take care of them usually. Children rely on their parents/guardians to take care of them as well. Feeding, bathing, providing shelter, and giving love and support to are all characteristics children and animals need to survive and have a happy, healthy life. Although all animals do not rely on humans, it is still wrong to abuse them. Abuse can be physical or emotional, and you may think, oh, it's just an animal, it doesn't have feelings, but you are wrong. They do have feelings just as we do. Animals and children usually don't know why they are being abused and still try to show compassion for the person who hurt them. So even though they are being abused, they are still trying to show their love to the person who hurt them the most. So I hope you will now think of abusing an animal as being just as serious as abusing a child. In conclusion, there is no justification for abuse no matter who the victim is. Abuse is wrong, especially when it comes to children and animals, because they certainly cannot defend themselves against fully grown men and women. Animals should not be considered as just property to someone. In my household, we have 3 very healthy cats that we love unconditionally and would never let anything happen to them no matter what. You should treat every living thing with the kindness and respect you would want to be treated with. Life is life's greatest gift. Guard the life of another creature as you would your own, because it is your own. On life's scale of values, the smallest is no less precious to the creature who owns than the largest. And that's a famous quote by Lloyd Figge Jr. Here are some pictures of abused animals and abused children, and they all look very sad, and they are should be taken just as seriously no matter what.